How you doing? And welcome to Neither Real Music. I'm Ed, and this is Just Play It, a song series dedicated to arrangements that I've created for songs that I like that you can learn. Today we're going to be starting Autumn in New York by Vernon Duke. I'm going to be showing you measures 1 through 4 in a fingerstyle arrangement with a little bit of a breakdown so that you can understand what I'm doing with a little bit of music theory. So let's get started. Before we get started, please remember to subscribe and ring the bell so you know when your next lesson is available. Let's take a look at these first 4 measures of Autumn in New York by Vernon Duke. So the first little part is going to sound like this. What I'm doing here is mocking a G minor 7 chord, which is the first chord in the song, and trying to add the melody of A, G, F, D. A, G, F, D. The sharp-eyed might notice that the chord that I'm playing actually doesn't contain an F in it, so how could it be a G minor 7 chord? Well, I'm mocking the chord, and I'm including that note F right there as a passing tone. So with a little bit of some tones holding over through the chord and a little bit of melody, it all adds up to be a G minor 7 style pattern. And now we're going to go to, for the second section, we're going to go to an A minor 7 chord, which in this case are going to be played as a little bar with your third finger as A, G, and C. Now this one's cake because it's basically just a half note. So we're going to try putting these two ideas together. So right there, we've taken care of the first measure of measures 1 through 4. Now we're going to move on to our second measure. We have a carried note, a tied note. This note C should stay ringing, but we have to introduce our next chord. When introducing a chord, you really don't need to ever play the whole entire chord. What you do need to do is when the chord change happens, as far as timing goes, you have to play the bass note. So in this case, it's going to be another G minor 7. So all I'm going to do is play the note G all by itself. So we have this A minor 7. And you'll hear I'm letting those other notes continuously ring so that they blend and connect the two pieces together. From here, we're going to bar. Now this might be tough for some of the players out there. If you can't do this, you want to start working on building your bar up. But the reason we need to bar is we have to play the note D while this note is ringing. That low G needs to continue ringing through the sequence. Now we have a melody line. The melody line can be played with a single finger. You could do it as rest stroke like you would do in classical guitar, or you could do it with your thumb. From here, we're going to jump from our third position G minor 7 idea to 8th position, and we're going to play a C7 chord, but we're not going to play all of the notes. So we're going to need a C, and we're going to definitely need a bar. You're going to find with a lot of jazz fingerstyle arrangements, you're going to need to learn to bar. That's going to help you get a lot more tones out of your playing and help you work less. For this chord, we're going to be playing our C, our E, a G, and a D. We're going to put this idea together and have. Now you have to lift your pinky up to get an additional C. So when we put these ideas together, this is all of measures 1 and 2. You're going to lose some notes along the way if this is your first time playing it, especially if your bar isn't strong enough or if you're just not used to playing in this fashion. Keep working it out. If you lose a note, don't let it stop you. Just keep playing on to the next thing. Try not to let a mistake stop you from playing the rest of what you're trying to practice. From our C7 chord, we're going to build an F major 7 where our melody note, D, is on our 10th fret. This isn't very hard. You just need the notes F, E, A, and D. And then what we're going to do is create a walking bass line by moving our first finger up to play C. Then we're going to go to a G minor 9 chord, where A is on our 2nd string of our 10th fret. Our melody note is 2nd string, 10th fret. We're also going to add a bass line by moving to a D. Putting in a walking bass line in a section is a great way to fill in space when the melody note is a long note, like a half note or a whole note. So when we put these two ideas together, we end up with this. So that's measure 3. So when we put them together, for our last measure, it's just chords. It really isn't a melody, so we're going to continue this idea of a walking bass line forward. And we're going to play a regular A minor 7 chord and move our thumb from A to E. And our upper notes could be anything from the A minor 7 chord. Since these notes aren't part of the melody, you could also arpeggiate this idea. Making something more interesting sounding. From there, we're going to go to a D7 flat 9 chord. Flat 9s are pretty common. In this case, we're going to be using D, F sharp, C, and E flat. So what I do is I bar my 4th fret to get the rest of the notes. And I'm going to use my thumb to play the F sharp afterwards. From here, what I'm going to do is play the whole thing with some time so that you have something to practice along to, and provide you with the tab completely so that you can also see what we're working on as one fluid thing and you could follow along. So let's check out this whole song with a little bit of time and a tablature. Measures 1 through 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's check that out with a tab. 1, 2, 3, 4. As you practice this section of the song, try to work it out with a metronome. I'm playing the song at 60 beats. So you set your metronome at 60 and just try to work it out. If you need to slow the idea down, you could pause on the tablature, music, and try to follow along at a pace that's more convenient for you. A lot of jazz guitar is a little bit more free with time than most other instruments. We steal time. We take a little bit of time from one section and give it to another. So we might lengthen a section and shorten another just to make it easy to move around the instrument. This is very common. Although you don't want to abuse this idea, because then when you try to play in time, it'll be more difficult for you. I hope lessons like this are really helping you become a better player and you enjoy arrangements. Please stick around and subscribe so that you can get the next 4 measures of this arrangement. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. Compliments are nice, but questions let me know that you're working on these. If you're interested in more in-depth ideas, feel free to join my Patreon. $1 a day could really help me produce some new stuff, and you could ask questions and I could try to produce a video specific to your question and maybe help you out. Thank you for checking out this video. Good luck, good practice.